So hello, my name is Scot Hurst. I am Assistant Curator of Arms and Armour here at the Royal Armouries, and with me I have the Tyr Tactical Epic Women's Plate Carrier. This is up in arms. So generally, especially within the context of the Royal Armouries, whenever we speak about body armour, we generally think about knights charging around the battlefield in full plate harness. And this is understandable because the museum, frankly, is chock full of the stuff. But generally speaking, and this is a sweeping generalization, and I am fully prepared for an angry comment section and an angry office, but generally speaking, once you see firearms improving in terms of their technology and once you start seeing them become more prevalent on the battlefield, body armor for the infantry starts to become less prevalent on the battlefield. It's too heavy, too cumbersome. It's just not practical. And so it starts to fade out of use, but it never disappears entirely, especially when we're looking at the cavalry, who retain it for the next few centuries, in fact. But once we hit the start of the 20th century, there's a whole new wave of fresh research, interest, development, experimentation with infantry body armor. We start seeing experimental body armors available for private purchase throughout the First and Second World Wars, onwards into the 60s, Vietnam War. We have the famous, iconic even, flak jacket worn by American GIs. But still, it is not unusual to see troops being deployed without any body armor at all, or even helmets, well into the 80s. So the prime example of this will be the Falklands War of 1982, when British troops were quite literally sent out without any body armor at all, and in many cases without helmets. And there are the famous images of the Royal Marines yomping across the Falklands in nothing but jackets, fatigues, and their berets. So really the next great wave of research development comes in 2001, or rather as a result of 2001, which was of course the start of the global war on terror, the GWOT. So this fresh wave of research development, experimentation, and issuing of new body armors is really a result of our experiences in the early stages of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. We were looking at the new and different styles of warfare that we were facing, this counterinsurgency warfare, clearing compounds, patrols out in vast open areas. So we were looking at those experiences and coming up with new solutions to help protect our infantry on the ground. And really at the end of that process, the product, the armor that we have today is the plate carrier. And that is what I have here. So what is a plate carrier? Essentially, it is a combined system of body armor and load-bearing equipment as well. So essentially, you're combining your traditional armor with load-bearing equipment, what would have been previously your webbing. And there's quite an important design philosophy behind plate carriers. The idea is that every plate carrier should fulfill three critical roles, and that is stopping holes, plugging holes, and making holes. So let's break that down. Stopping holes. This is, of course, armor. It is designed to stop the bad guys putting holes through you. This is what we mean by stopping holes, quite obviously. So this is a combination of soft armor and hard ballistic plates. The soft armor designed to take the velocity really out of low velocity projectiles, things like shrapnel, fragmentation, some small calibers. And quite obviously the hard plates, which are secured in a pocket just on the front here. So just in there we have the hard plate, which I will now try to remove with some grace and dignity. So there we go, that's your hard plate. And there's another one in the rear of the carrier as well. These are rated to level 3+, which will basically stop anything up to and including a 7.62x51. So this is very effective armor. So 7.62x51 is essentially the NATO 7.62 round. So we have dealt with stopping holes. The next design philosophy revolved around plugging holes. So as I mentioned, the armor is basically a combination of your ballistic plates, but also your load-bearing equipment. So on here, you can carry everything that you would ever need out on patrol on whatever mission set you're currently undertaking. So what every soldier ideally should be carrying is this thing just here, an IFAK, or individual first aid kit. So in this case, this IFAK is attached to the rear of the armor, staged in such a position that you can reach it and detach it with either arm. So if one hand is, or arm is taken out of action for whatever reason, you can still grab it with the other, with these handy dandy clips and pull tabs just there. So you can literally grab your med kit, your IFAK, as quickly as that. So within here, you will have everything that you will ever need to stop a traumatic bleed, heavy bleed, treat a gunshot wound. You'll have things like a tourniquet, you'll have things like hemostatic gauze, bandages, you may have things like chest seals. So everything you'll need to keep yourself alive long enough for a trained medic to attend to you or for you to be medevaced out of the area. You'll also be able to carry things like trauma shears. You'll also be able to carry additional, what's often referred to as a boo-boo kit, so minor scrapes, things like bandages, plasters, lip balm, sunscreen in your GP pouch, general purpose pouch. Amongst other things, packs of Skittles are incredibly popular. And this armor is also designed in such a way that you can remove it as quickly as possible. So that if there is a traumatic chest injury, chest wound, for example, all you have to do is pull this tab up, pull this little tab just here, and what happens is all of the clips, all of the buckles on the side and the shoulders, all detach instantaneously. So you can get the armor off, and the medic or whoever's attending you can get to the torso as quickly as possible. So everything about this, again, is designed not only to hopefully stop holes being put inside you, but also allow you to be treated, to be cared for as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So just going on a slight divergence, as I said, this is it incorporates your load-bearing equipment, but this is all modular. This is completely scalable. It's customizable to the user. So whoever is wearing this can kit it out basically according to their preferences. On this example, we have the IFAK at the rear, but you may wish to mount it onto your dominant side to the right or left. You can swap out your pouches. You can swap out your armor according to your standard operating procedures. You can, depending on your mission set, your objectives, your job role for the day, you may decide to add armor. You can add side plates to the cummerbund. You can also remove armor. So for example, if you are on a long-range reconnaissance patrol, you may wish to ditch most of the armor and prioritize weight, prioritize mobility, especially if you're not expecting to engage head-on with the enemy. But oppositely, if you are going in clearing compounds, clearing rooms, CQB work, close quarter battles, you probably want as much armor in there as you can. So you would, as I say, scale it up. So it's a brilliant system in that respect. And that is all because of this stuff, the MOLLE attachment points or PALS webbing, which allows you to basically thread in whatever kit and equipment you need. So the third and final point of discussion is making holes, which is unfortunately a necessity of war. And of course, any soldier operating a weapon system will need ammunition. So as you can see, we have mag pouches on the front and on the side. So in this case, we have our 5.56 magazines. And we also have auxiliary pouches on the front for sidearm for your 9mm. And again, this is all completely modular. It's all scalable, so depending on what weapon you're operating, you can swap these out for different magazines. You may decide to attach another general purpose pouch on the front. You may wish to attach tourniquets or medkits, whatever else. This is all completely modular and scalable. So what makes this particular example particularly special and particularly important within our collection to the museum? So this example is by Tyr Tactical. It is their epic female plate carrier. So the female bit. This is not the only, but it was certainly one of the first specifically designed plate carriers for women to accommodate the female physicality, the female body, the way that it works. Prior to that, service women were essentially forced to use male armour, or what's sometimes referred to as unisex, which is basically the half size. And frankly, it didn't really work, and it was incredibly uncomfortable a lot of the time. So companies like Tyr Tactical started to develop armour that was specifically geared, tailored towards the female body. So the big problem faced by a lot of women who were wearing the male body armour was basically breast compression or chest compression. The principle behind a lot of these plate carriers is that your plates are obviously on the chest and the back. So when you're engaging the enemy, you want to be square on. You want to get plates facing the enemy. You don't want to be caught side on and getting hit on the side of the rib cage, under the arms, etc. So plates towards the enemy. The problem with that is that once you bring your weapon system up, everything kind of becomes a little bit squished. So what they've done with armour like this is basically created a little bit more room in the chest area just to accommodate the female body that much more effectively. So this not only represents the most up-to-date, current, modern piece of armour in our collection, and this is in service today. It also represents the future of armour and of warfare, as today more and more women are playing an active, crucial frontline role. We've only to look at the conflict in Ukraine to see that women are playing an active role in the military, in militaries around the world. And so it's only proper that we adequately equip those women with appropriate kit and equipment that will work for them. And happily, the British Army have embraced that principle. So since April 2022, service women in the British Army have been issued with female-specific body armour rather than being issued male equipment. So as I say, this represents the present and the future of body armour and is a fantastic addition to the Royal Armouries collection. So that's been another thrilling episode of Up in Arms. If you didn't catch it at the start, my name's Scott. The Royal Armouries is a charitable organisation, so if you would like to support us, please do feel free to give us a donation if you are able to. Otherwise, like, subscribe, leave us some comments, and if you do have any suggestions for future episodes, if there's something that you would really love to see being discussed, let us know in the comment section. Thank you very much.